On our wedding day, the air was thick with anticipation. Everything had been planned down to the smallest detail. Flowers arranged just so, the soft hum of classical music filling the hall, and the laughter of friends and family blending seamlessly with the clinking of glasses. I had rehearsed the smile I would wear, the calm words I would speak, the way I would stand beside her, proud and steady. I wanted the day to be perfect, not just for her, but for the promise we had made to each other. Yet, as I entered the room where she had gathered with her friends before the ceremony, I froze. There she was, my fiancée, leaning into a group of women who laughed freely, the sound light, teasing, unguarded. At first, I assumed it was the usual pre-wedding nervous chatter, the harmless banter meant to ease tension. But then a fragment of their conversation drifted to my ears. "Imagine if she said, her tone playful. But the words that followed carried a sharpness I hadn't anticipated. Something in the cadence, the way they exchanged glances, the slight lift of an eyebrow at the punchline. It wasn't just humor. It was an idea being toyed with, a notion that left no room for doubt in my mind. My stomach tightened, not with anger, but with the unmistakable weight of reality pressing down, as though a wall I had always trusted had quietly begun to crumble. I stayed silent, letting the moment stretch, letting the laughter wash over me. I wanted to gauge, to understand, without reacting, without giving away the storm building inside. Every instinct screamed to confront, to demand, to lash out, yet something deeper, a steadiness I hadn't fully claimed until this moment, told me to hold. The ceremony began, a blur of vows and smiles, a parade of well-wishers clapping and cooing over what everyone assumed was a flawless union. I repeated my promises, spoke the words that carried the weight of a lifetime. Yet inside, my mind replayed that brief, careless laugh and the words that followed. Each syllable haunted me, a quiet tremor beneath the surface of what everyone else perceived as unwavering joy. During the reception, I found my eyes wandering, scanning the room not for friends, not for congratulations, but for glimpses of her interactions, the small gestures, the expressions that might reveal more. I noticed the way she tilted her head slightly when speaking with someone across the table, the way her laughter lingered a moment too long, as if savoring something private. The more I observed, the more I realized how little I truly knew about the momentary lives people carry within themselves, even the ones we swear we understand completely. By the end of the night, the air had shifted imperceptibly. Conversations that had seemed light and carefree now carried undertones of tension I couldn't ignore. When we finally stepped aside, moment alone, I watched her carefully, searching for a clue that would explain the tremor I had sensed all evening. But there was nothing, no slip, no reveal, no remorse. Just a polished smile I had seen countless times, now as unreadable as a photograph frozen in time. I made a choice then, though I did not yet fully understand it. I would remain composed, silent, allowing the weight of truth to surface without my interference. To react would be to surrender to the chaos she had unknowingly invited into our day. Instead, I resolved to watch, to understand, and to act when the moment demanded, not before. The days that followed were a careful dance of appearances. Family and friends continued their congratulations, unaware of the fissure that had quietly formed. I went through motions that seemed natural, exchanged smiles that felt hollow, and nodded politely at inquiries about how I was feeling. Inside, I was recalibrating, measuring my steps, waiting for the moment when clarity would demand action. It wasn't long before the truth became unavoidable. Small inconsistencies, subtle evasions, the way she glanced at her phone with a fleeting tension in her brow, all of it built a pattern I could no longer ignore. I confronted her not with anger, not with accusations, but with a calm resolve that had carried me this far. I told her what I had heard, what I had seen, and let silence underscore the gravity of my words. She tried to laugh it off, to paint the moment as harmless, but the mask had slipped. I left the room without raising my voice, without a plea or demand. It was not pride. It was the simplest acknowledgement of reality. That trust, once fractured, cannot be forced back into place. Days passed, then weeks, and with each passing moment, the choice I made, the choice to hold my dignity, to step away quietly, proved its own quiet victory. I focused on rebuilding, on reclaiming the life I had entrusted too easily. In time, the world outside continued as if nothing had changed. Yet for me, everything had shifted. I had learned a lesson not of revenge, not of punishment, but restraint and clarity. Sometimes the greatest power lies in walking away, in honoring one's own value, and allowing life to reveal who is truly worthy of your presence. And in that quiet resolve, I found a freedom that no laughter or fleeting betrayal could ever take from me.